Think about how you would advise your friend if they came to you with a problem with their family budget. What would you tell them is the smart thing to do? Their total family income is $21,700. The amount of money the family planned to spend is $38,200. When you figure the difference between these two, this gives them $16,500 in new debt on their credit card. That makes the total outstanding balance on their credit cards grow to $142,710. In an effort to get their budget under control, they made budget cuts of $385. What would your advice be when they ask you for help managing their budget? Would you tell them to cut back on their spending or just apply for another credit card? I think for most of us, the answer is clear. Don't you think it's obvious they need to find ways to spend less money and get out of debt? Now, let's imagine the government is asking for your advice with their money problems. Let's look at their budget. When you hear all the big numbers on the news describing U.S. debt problems, do all the billions and trillions sometimes just cause your eyes to glaze over? If you take the family budget that I just described and add 8 zeros to each number, it's easier to relate to the big numbers the government is deciding on. The government's income is $2,170 billion in total tax revenue. The federal budget they plan to spend is $3,820 billion. The difference makes $1,650 billion of new debt. When you add that to what we already owe, you get $14,271 billion in debt. Whew. By the time I get to the end of that number, it's kind of hard to remember where it started. But oh, there's some good news. There's been a budget cut of $38,500 billion in an effort to get our debt under control. What do you think is the right way for our government to manage our money? It's a hard choice. Should they cut spending and borrow less, or raise the debt ceiling and spend us deeper into debt? Raising the debt ceiling is a phrase we hear a lot about on the news. That's your government's way of applying for another credit card. That's why our country's credit score just got downgraded. When you knock off 8 zeros for a family budget, it's clear that they need to spend less than they take in or head towards debt disaster. Is our country headed towards debt disaster? The government actually is asking for your advice. You tell them what you think they should do when you vote. What will you tell them? Should we vote for people who will take us deeper in debt, or for those who cut spending? Which sounds right to you?